O-C-O-E-E.
Oh,
Hey, I'm starting my 10 o'clock one light, and whatever is not here. Alright, it's supposed to have two singles, but I have just one, so I'm starting now. If you hear from maybe they screwed up the time zone, I don't know. Alright, bye. Alright, so this is Flash. Flash is a two-fingered sloth. Alive in the world today, there are two-fingered sloths and three-fingered sloths. There are significant differences between them. And these other two do not live in these baskets. They moved down from the house in the baskets. They have very large things up in the house where they live. So two-fingered sloths and three-fingered sloths are pretty different animals. The three-fingered are the ones that look like they have a mask and permanent smile. There are basically no three-fingered sloths in the continental U.S. Excuse me. Because three-fingered sloths eat almost exclusively sarcopia leaves, and sarcopia trees don't grow in the continental U.S. So, similar to koalas that are desperately expensive to feed because their food doesn't grow here, sloths are the same way. The two-fingered sloth is a very much more solidly built animal. It makes more sense if I show you a skeleton picture here. This is just a Google search of a sloth skeleton, maybe. Looks like I got speed test from Ookla instead of sloth skeleton here. So the two-fingered sloth is about 20% bigger than a three-fingered sloth, and the two-fingered sloth is more solidly built. What is going on with my Wi-Fi? Alright, here we go. So a three-fingered sloth looks like this. Three-fingered sloth has 9 vertebrae in the cervical spine between the skull and the shoulders, and they have 3 vertebrae of a tail. The two-fingered sloth, which this is, has only 5 in the cervical spine, and they have no tail. So the 4 missing from the neck and the 3 missing from the tail are all between the hips and shoulders of the two-fingered sloth. And he is far more solidly built. You can see that his arms are longer than his body, legs longer than arms. He's got 46 ribs, 23 sets of ribs. The two-fingered though, well, the three-fingered is a lot less solidly built. It has arms longer than body, but legs shorter than body. And because of the long neck, the three-fingered will turn its head 270 around like an owl, like this. The two-fingered, from hips to shoulders, can turn until his hips and shoulders are 180 apart because he's got so many more between the hips and shoulders. Alright, so you are going to feed this guy his breakfast while I tell you some things about sloths that you likely don't know. Just hold it up in front of him, he has to smell it, he doesn't see it, and then he'll take it out of your hand. And if you bring your hand down, he'll hang right down in between. He'll hang right down face to face with you. The two-fingered, well, sloths, generally speaking, oh, look at him all snuggled in there. Generally speaking, sloths are slow. Sloths are famously slow. But sloths are slow in ways that it likely hasn't occurred to you that it would even be possible for an animal to be slow. The beginning of why they are slow is their diet. In the rainforest, they're eating almost exclusively leaves. Leaves are very low in nutritional value and very low in caloric content. So the sloth is working on an extremely limited energy budget. So low, in fact, that a sloth doesn't even maintain its body temperature. its core body temperature will be just whatever the outside air temperature is. And he is technically a warm-blooded animal, but he doesn't maintain. So the daytime high in the rainforest is in the mid or upper 80s, nighttime low is in the high 60s, and his core body temperature will follow that range of temperatures every day. So his nighttime core body temperature can be 19 degrees Fahrenheit less than his daytime core body temperature. The sloth only makes milk for its babies for about 2 to 4 weeks, and most mammals produce, store, deliver milk for their young. The sloth has no storage. They produce and deliver drop by drop as the baby eats it. According to San Diego Zoo's knowledge base, it is gender dependent that a male baby sloth will milk for about 2 weeks and a female baby sloth for 20-some days. He won't grab that with his hand, he'll drop it. And you are welcome to stand approximately this close to this guy and take your pictures like that.
Okay.
He is not going to bite you. The sloth is slow also in their digestion, metabolism, metabolic processes, all of that. The sloth in the rainforest is eating about 10% of his body weight every single day, and yet going to the bathroom only once in 7 to 10 days. When the sloth is eating all of that food, it is almost exclusively leaves, very low nutritional value. So even though he is eating 10% of his body mass every day, he goes to the bathroom only once in 7 to 10 days. And that is solid and liquid together at the same time, separately but at the same time. When he does go to the bathroom, he is going to eliminate 1/3 of his total body mass when he goes. So putting those numbers to human perspective,
Right.
I weigh around 200 pounds. So that would be me rolling into Outback and saying, bring me 20 of the 16-ounce porterhouse steaks. Or if I had to hit the Golden Arches, I'm saying, drop me out 80 quarter-pounders, right? And then if I was going to eliminate 1/3 of my total body mass, we're talking about something in the range of 60 pounds, all at one shot. So, and doing so in about 2 to 3 minutes.
Wow.
When the sloth is in the top of the tree, he is safe. When he's in the top of the tree, you know, some of the main things that hunt in the rainforest would be snakes. A snake cannot find a sloth. A sloth, as we said, his core body temperature is just whatever the outside air temperature is. And he has no scent gland, sweat gland, musk gland, none of that. So there is no natural smell to a sloth. Given that a snake hunts by smell and by temperature gradient, a snake cannot find a sloth. If he finds it, it's pure dumb luck. A cat can't get to a sloth. The sloth has a structure to his eyes called a rod monochromacy, which means he has all rod cells, no cone cells. So if you've ever seen the movies where the military guys have got the night vision goggles and you see what's out in front of them is just moving around blobs, that is the way that a sloth sees. It's not so much important to him what is coming toward him, just if anything is coming toward him. That's bad news for a sloth. So the sloth's instinct is then going to be end of the branch, get to the end of the branch, and then, you know, the branch is going to hang down under his weight, right? Well, the cat is coming along the top of the branch to try to get to him. When he gets to the end, you're like, what's he going to do? I mean, he just can't get
Right,
there.
can't get there.
And if the cat should press the issue to the point that the whole mess would break and drop 100 feet to the floor of the rainforest, the sloth will almost certainly survive, and the cat will almost certainly not. And the sloth will look over the cat and say, ha. And back up the tree he goes, and the cat will not be returning to the canopy of the rainforest. A sloth big enough to threaten, a cat big enough to threaten a sloth is going to be 40, 50 pounds. The sloth only weighs 15. So the sloth can get much further out the branch than the cat is ever going to. So literally the cat isn't going to get to the sloth. The one animal that can get to a sloth in the top of the tree is the harpy eagle. Their vision is so poor he thinks he's going to climb the trees on the wall. The one animal that can get to the sloth in the top of the rainforest is a harpy eagle. They don't rely on scent, they don't rely on temperature gradient, they don't need the branch to support them. So the harpy eagle can get to a sloth, but that's all. So even though the sloth is basically safe in the top of the tree, yet he comes all the way down the tree, same side of the tree, and goes to the bathroom in the exact same spot that he always goes. And the reason for that is the sloth-moth symbiotic relationship. Now, symbiotic means beneficial to both sides, where parasitic would be beneficial to one, neutral or harmful to the other. It's symbiotic. So they're working together. There is a type of moth called a sloth moth. There's 3 specific types of moths that are sloth moths. They live nowhere in the world except in the fur and in the waste pile of a sloth. So the benefit to the moth is that the sloth is the food source and the living environment of the moth. I'll take a picture for you if you like. You want to just stand right there next to him. Your finger flash. There you go. So the sloth moth lives only in the fur and in the waste pile of a sloth. Nowhere else in the world do they live. The sloth moth flies only very short distances, like 18 inches. The sloth moth will live in the fur of the sloth for all of its life. The only reasons it leaves the sloth are to get into the waste pile to lay its eggs and to fly to leaves to drink water that pools up in the leaves in the canopy of the rainforest. The benefit to the sloth moth is that the sloth is the food source and the living environment of the moth. Specifically, the sloth moth is eating the moss and algae that are all in the sloth's fur. And the sloth moth is...
I don't have any more, buddy. I know you're reaching, but I don't have any.
Cut him some sweet potato here.
Okay.
So the sloth moth is eating the moss and algae that are all in the sloth's fur. And so the sloth is the food source and the living environment of the moth. Obviously it's not eating the sloth, it's eating the moss and algae that are in the sloth's fur. And the benefit to the sloth is that as the sloth grooms itself, the sloth is eating a certain amount of the moths themselves. And the moths are the protein source of the sloth. The second benefit for the sloth is that Hey, sweetheart. Not your turn, baby girl.
You're next, I promise. We got you. Oh, wow.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, the son and the baby.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there we go.
Did you do the VIP or did you do a separate baby one later in the day?
I don't know.
I'll look it up.
Yeah.
You might like these, I'm not sure.
Okay.
His tastes change from day to day. Some days he wants nothing
Really
but the
like the
squash,
green
other
beans,
days he wants
yeah.
nothing but green beans.
Yeah.
But by the end of the day, he'll eat all of that because whatever he doesn't eat on his encounter goes into his dishes in
Gotcha.
his room. And if he didn't come down at all, he would still get the same food that he gets when he comes down for encounters. But when you hold it up there, though, he has to smell it. He doesn't see it.
Yeah. He smells it and then he sometimes just looks away. Want any more, buddy?
May or may not.
Yeah.
So the one second. Oh yeah, you have the baby. You have that one later on. Okay. So what was I saying? The benefit to the sloth. First, the moths, as they are living all in the sloth's fur and feeding on the moss and algae in the sloth's fur, they are fertilizing the same via their waste. So as there are 100 or 150 moths living all in this dude's fur in the wild, not here, praise the Lord. As there are all these moths living in his fur, the moths fertilizing the moss and algae means more moss, more algae, more disguise from harpy eagles, which is the one thing they can get to the sloth in the top of the rainforest. Also, the sloth is now going to smell like the moss and algae, like the rest of the rainforest, because if he just had no smell, you know, he would be like a blank space, and that might make a snake able to find it, not sure. Second thing, as the sloth grooms himself, he licks up a certain amount of the moths themselves. The bodies of the moth are where the sloth gets his protein from. Third and most importantly, as the sloth grooms himself, he licks up a certain amount of the waste of the moths. And the waste of the moths are the key to the game for the sloth. You didn't know a sloth could be playful, right? The waste of the moths are where the sloth gets his bacteria colony from that cause him to digest his food. Now, we also have helpful gut bacteria, right? And our gut bacteria will last throughout our lives unless we take a whole lot of antibiotics. If we take a lot of antibiotics, we need probiotics or Greek yogurt to fix our gut health back up. Now, the sloth doesn't know what GNC is, he doesn't know how to find Publix. His gut health is the waste of the moths. That's where he gets his bacteria colony that digests his food. Now here, he doesn't need the moths for three specific reasons. One, nothing is out to get him here, so he doesn't need the disguise. Two, he gets different protein sources, so he doesn't need the protein of the moths. And three, he doesn't have to replenish his gut bacteria. Now for us, what interrupts our gut health is antibiotics. For him, what interrupts his gut health is cold temperature. So when it gets down into the 60s at night in the rainforest, cold temperature is what wipes out his gut bacteria, and then he replenishes it as he grooms himself, licks up the waste of the moths. Here, he never ever gets cold. It's always 80 degrees in here. And so he doesn't ever get cold, and therefore he doesn't have to replace his gut bacteria. And these ones in the baskets right here, they don't live in these baskets, they travel between the house and down here. In the baskets lined with towels and covered with towels, so they don't get cold driving down here.
Right.
But it is always 80 degrees in my house. And so yeah, you gotta like it hot if you're gonna have a sloth. The sloths, when they come down the tree, same side of the tree every single time, once in 7 to 10 days.